This video will examine the array command in AutoCAD. Array will copy and pattern objects. We'll begin by arraying this little robot face into rows and columns. Choose the array command off of the Modify toolbar. After you've initiated the command, you can select your object. When you're done selecting objects, press Enter. It then gives you a screen where you can see your array. You can also see that the ribbon has changed to show only array tools. I can come up here and I can change the number of columns. Columns are the rows that go straight up and down, like columns holding up a building. And I could say I want 6 columns. Enter. Notice that I can also change the number of rows. I can say that I want 4 rows. Enter. If I look at the ends here, you'll see that there are grips inside of some of the tools. If I pick this grip out here and click and stretch, it allows me to add additional columns or subtract columns. If I pick this one up here, it allows me to subtract rows or add rows. This grip over here allows me to dynamically change the number of rows and columns at the same time. And then finally, these 2 grips will allow me to change the spacing from the center of one to the center of the other. Notice that there's a button up here called Associative. With associativity on, when I close the array, all of these objects continue to be one object, so that if I need to later, I can come back in and I can still modify the number of rows, the number of columns, or the spacing. In this case over here, if I want to make a series of TIE fighters attacking the Death Star, instead of using the rectangular array command, I will use the polar array command. Polar array will array things in a circle, like chairs around a table. It's asking me to select my objects. I only need to select the TIE fighter here and not the Death Star. Press Enter. It then asks me for the center point of my array. In this case, I want it to be the center of the Death Star. And it gives me a basic pattern of 6 TIE fighters surrounding the Death Star. I can come over here to the command or to the ribbon, and I can change the number. Say I want 8 TIE fighters instead of 6, or perhaps I want 10 TIE fighters instead of 8. I can also come in here and change the number of rows. I could say I want 2 rows, or 3 rows, or 4 rows. You cannot change the number of fighters on the second row to be more than you have on the first row. But you can change the spacing between the 2. Notice right now the spacing between the 2 is 1.2074. I could simply decrease that down to 1 so that they get a little bit closer. This button right here will allow the items to be rotated as they're copied, which is what we want. But you might end up with a time when you wouldn't want them rotated, in which case you would get them perhaps flying in formation. This button will change the direction of rotation. It won't make a difference unless you're not rotating them through a full 360 degrees. When you're done with your array, you can choose simply Close Array. Just like the rectangular array, the polar array is also associative, allowing you to come back in at any time and change the numbers in the array.